everybody. Today we are going to review the Riley Sager's new book, The Last Time I Lied. So Riley Sager is the author who also wrote Final Girls. So this one came out on the 3rd of July. And so I'll give a little preview of what it's about. I won't go over any spoilers. So basically it's about a woman. It starts off about a woman who's she's in the art scene. She's a prominent artist, and during one of her gallery showings, somebody from her past shows up. That somebody is a camp director, and the camp director asks her to come back to the camp as a counselor or a painter to help new girls with painting. And so what is her name? The new girl, M, she's a little bit hesitant about it, as the last time she was there when she was younger, I believe it was 15 years ago, 3 of her friends went missing and they have never been found. So she's a little bit hesitant to go back, but obviously she decides to go back, and then of course different things happen which I won't go into, so we don't get into any spoilers. So, thoughts on the book. I give this a 5 out of 5. I read a third of the book in a couple of days, and then I ended up staying up all night till like 1:30 in the morning to finish reading the last 2/3. I thought it was really good. I really liked the book. I feel like I liked it a little bit better than Final Girls. I felt like it was just interesting. Maybe it was just something I felt like I could maybe relate to a little bit more, just with the story and how just her friendship with the girls. I just remember some of the things growing up with me and my sister and my cousins. It kind of just reminded me of some of the things, just friendship between girls. So I really liked that, and I thought it was fun. I liked the camp aspect of it. I thought that was pretty cool. What'd you think?
I liked it. I gave it I think about a 4.5 out of 5. I like Final Girls a little bit better because there's the whole horror type movie aspect of it. But this one I really liked. I think this is an author definitely to keep an eye on. He's a great writer. He does a really good job of fleshing out his characters and keeping everything interesting. Something will be happening like right now in the timeline, and then the next chapter he'll go back to what happened in that person's past and how that kind of influences her to make the decisions that she does or think the way she does. I just think he really keeps it like almost fast-paced back then, or like going back and forth in the timeline, keeps things interesting.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of, at least some of the modern thriller novels are, that I've noticed, is they jump back and forth. So I don't think that's really any kind of spoiler, especially since it's, even just reading the synopsis on the inside of the book, it talks about pretty much something happens from the past. So obviously you're gonna have to learn about what happened in the past, or to understand what's happening now, or what's going to be happening. And so I do like that aspect too. Is I find that when an author goes back and forth between present and past, you're kind of wanting to, like, what happened, what's going on, and then it also kind of makes it interesting as to what's happening now, because you're like, oh wow, how does one decision influence the other, and then so forth and so on. So I thought for prose, I feel like he keeps you, once you get into the book, I feel like the story is very interesting, it's very engaging, that you want to keep on reading. It's not one of those where you get kind of like, okay, I'm bored, I can stop, I don't have to, I can let this go for a couple of days. It's not really that interesting. I feel like once you get into the book, you really do want to keep on reading, and that's what I would find, that I would kind of just stop reading when, like, I'd read it between work during my lunch break, or like at night, until I just so tired I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. But for the most part, I think that's when I think the prose is, that once you get involved in the book, you're like invested, and the story is engaging, and you feel like, I feel like also you feel a part of it, like with the characters. In this story, and a little bit so with the Final Girls, is I felt like you kind of feel invested in the characters, and that you kind of feel a part of it. You kind of feel like you understand. Well, I guess I don't know that I would say you understand the characters, but I feel like you feel part of the story. You feel part of a little bit a part of their journey as well. I remember I read one or watched one YouTube video that they said that they didn't really develop. They developed they didn't really develop the main character that much, and I feel like is partially true. I feel like they didn't really develop the main character that much. They developed some of the other characters a little bit more, which after I feel like they did do that. So that might be a con, and I think a con for me too with both of his books is it was a little bit hard for me to get started because I feel like they start off a little bit slow, and when a book starts off slow, it's very hard for me to get into. I just personally, when it starts off slow, I'm not, I think with most people, they're not really interested in continuing. What do you think?
Yeah, for a lot of people that might be off-putting. I don't quite know how to explain it, but just how this writer fleshed out his characters. Like, there's a lot of character development, and that takes time, but something about the writing, like, as I was sitting there reading both of them, like, I could feel, like she said, kind of connected to him, or kind of connected to the story, if not them. So, like, I just got the sense that, like, okay, he's building up, letting you know how his character is, letting you know how his world is. And then, like, once you kind of got a handle on everything, then get into the storyline and what happened, and then you as a reader don't know what happened because some of the characters don't know what happened. And another thing is I read a lot and I've seen a lot of movies, and there have been very few books that I haven't been able to guess, like, you know, what the twists are. And both of these ones I was wrong. And that hasn't happened to me in a long time, so that's definitely a pro for me.
Yeah, I'm usually not good at guessing them anyway, so, you know, it makes no difference to me.
And, like, I know he wasn't the first to do it, and he's not a book writer, but the closest thing I could kind of compare the timeline jumps to is, like, a Quentin Tarantino movie. So if I do more, like, reviews and the writers do that, that's probably what I'll reference.
Yeah, so,
But this book caught me pretty fast. It came out on July 3rd. I picked it up on July 3rd, and I was done before midnight. I read the book in, like, about 12 hours, I think, like, taking breaks to eat, and I had to go meet her and stuff, but I read it pretty fast. I could not put it down.
Yeah, same thing for me. For the most part, I mean, I finished this in, I think, like, 3 or 4 days, and that's really fast for me. I think also with the twists, I thought they were interesting too. I liked his twist. Without giving, I don't want to give anything away, but I thought they were interesting, and the way he kind of, I think the twists in themselves were interesting. I don't think they weren't mind-blowing, I wouldn't say, but I felt like they were just right for the situation, if that makes sense. It's like, I think anymore, there isn't a lot where you can't figure it out, like, it hasn't been done before, but it just feels right for the situation and the story, and it ends well, and it's just like, it's just good. I just liked it.
Yeah, same here. Like, I hope this author keeps writing for a long time.
Yeah, and also I think we actually picked this up at Barnes & Noble for, I think it was like $20. If you aren't a part of the Book of the Month Club, they actually have this, and if you're a part of the Book of the Month Club, I think it's $14.99, and that includes shipping. And for, I think it's July's book, this is the book, but unfortunately they only ship out on the first of the month. So you also, I can put a link down below for a code so you can get a free book, so that way next month you can get this book as well as another one if you want. So yeah, I think I definitely recommend picking this up. I really liked it. I highly recommend it. I thought Riley Sager did a really good job. I think especially if you liked Final Girls, I think you'll really like this one too. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
So give it a try.
And on a slight side note, Final Girls is going to be made into a movie sometime in the future.
Alright, so go pick it up and tell us what you think in the comments down below. Bye.